Welcome to this week's Hymn of the Week. This week we have ELW 612, Healer of Our Every Ill. And this text and music is by Marty Haugen, which we have many hymns in the ELW composed by him. And I figured the best way to describe this hymn would to use his own words. So today I'm going to read a quote of Marty Haugen about this hymn. Healer of Our Every Ill was written during the winter of 1985-86 while my family was residing at Holden Village, a retreat center in the Cascade Mountains of Washington State. On January 28, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger crashed shortly after takeoff. In addition to the loss of 7 astronauts, it was a symbolic loss for Americans. At Holden, we had very infrequent communication with the outside world, so that we did not know of the disaster for a couple of days. When we got some information, we held a service in the evening, and Healer of Our Every Ill was written as an expression for a community to grieve together. And Marty Haugen also says that there was no expectation that the song would have a life beyond the winter community gathered there. However, like much of the music created there, Marty Haugen states, it survives in part because a single community used it repeatedly and shaped it over time. And I would definitely agree with Marty Haugen on that. This hymn tune has some interesting progressions within the chords and some surprise notes that you hear in the verse. And then sometimes it definitely feels like most of the time it's in a B minor key, but then at times it shifts to some other keys. Also sometimes if we want to speak of B minor to its parallel major, D major. So in playing Healer of Our Every Ill, in the hymnal it has just a lead sheet or just the melody line. I'm going to play it more freely. The accompaniment has lots of tenths, fifths. Expanded accompaniment, I will occasionally use that, but I think for the sake of singing and that simplicity of reflection, in this case of the tragedy, the Challenger tragedy, I would like to capture some more of that as we sing Healer of Our Every Ill. think it's great when we see the songs and hymns that are created in places of retreat. It's a reminder, I think, for us as musicians and as worshipers that God can speak to us in so many different ways. And I do thank Marty Hagen for taking the time to reflect and listen to God, for healer of our every ill. Thank you for listening.